Emily's new garden. 1. The decision to start a garden. It was early spring, and Emily had been thinking about starting a new hobby. She had always loved nature, and one day, as she looked out at the empty backyard, an idea came to her. "I'm going to start a garden," Emily said excitedly to her family at the dinner table. Her husband, John, smiled. "That's a great idea. I can help you build the garden beds." Lily, their daughter, looked up from her plate. "Can I help too, Mom? I love flowers." "Of course," Emily replied. "We can plant flowers, vegetables, and maybe even some herbs. It'll be our family garden." Jack, their son, wasn't as excited. "I don't know much about gardening, but I can help with the digging." Emily felt happy that her family wanted to help. The next weekend, they would begin working on the new garden. 2. Preparing the garden. On Saturday morning, the family gathered in the backyard, ready to start working. Emily had already drawn a plan for the garden, and John brought out some tools, a shovel, a rake, and a wheelbarrow. "We'll start by clearing this area," Emily explained, pointing to a sunny spot in the yard. "Then we can build the garden beds and fill them with soil." Jack grabbed the shovel and started digging, while Lily helped Emily pull out weeds. John worked on building the wooden frames for the garden beds. And soon the backyard was starting to look like the perfect place for a garden. "This is hard work," Jack said, wiping sweat from his forehead. "But it's going to be worth it," Emily said with a smile. "Just think of all the beautiful flowers and fresh vegetables we'll have." After a few hours of hard work, the garden beds were ready. Emily felt proud of what they had accomplished. 3. Planting the seeds. The next step was planting the seeds. Emily had bought a variety of seeds from the local garden store: tomatoes, carrots, lettuce, sunflowers, and lavender. "Okay, everyone, let's start planting," Emily said, handing out small seed packets. "Lily, you can help me with the flowers, and Jack, you can plant the vegetables." Lily carefully dug small holes in the soil and placed the sunflower seeds inside. "I can't wait to see these grow. Sunflowers are my favorite." Jack planted the tomato and carrot seeds in straight rows, following Emily's instructions. "Do you think they'll grow quickly?" he asked. Emily laughed. "It will take some time. Gardening is all about patience. We have to water the seeds and take care of them every day." John helped by setting up a watering system so that the plants would get the water they needed. The whole family worked together, and by the end of the day, the garden was filled with freshly planted seeds. 4. Caring for the garden. Over the next few weeks, Emily and her family took turns watering the garden, pulling out weeds, and checking on the plants. Every morning, Emily would go outside to see if there were any signs of growth. One morning, she noticed something exciting. Tiny green sprouts were starting to appear in the soil. "Come look, everyone," Emily called. "The seeds are sprouting." Lily and Jack ran outside to see. "Wow, they're growing," Lily said, kneeling down to look at the tiny sunflower sprouts. Jack smiled. "I didn't think it would happen so soon. It's amazing." Emily felt a sense of pride as she watched the plants grow. Every day, they got a little bigger, and the garden started to come to life with color and greenery. 5. The first harvest. By the middle of summer, the garden was in full bloom. The sunflowers had grown tall, their bright yellow faces turning toward the sun. The tomatoes were ripe and red, the carrots were ready to be pulled from the ground, and the lavender filled the air with its sweet scent. "It's time for our first harvest," Emily announced one afternoon. Lily was excited to pick the sunflowers. She gently cut the tall stems and gathered the flowers into a bouquet. "These are so beautiful. We can put them in a vase inside." Jack pulled up the carrots and carefully picked the ripe tomatoes. "I can't believe we grew these ourselves," he said, holding up a bunch of bright orange carrots. Emily smiled proudly. "This is what gardening is all about. It takes time and effort, but the results are worth it." That evening, the family enjoyed a delicious dinner made with the fresh vegetables from their garden. Emily used the tomatoes and carrots in a salad, and John grilled some of the vegetables for a tasty side dish. "This is the best dinner ever," Jack said. "It tastes even better knowing we grew the food ourselves." 6. A special place in the garden. As the summer continued, the garden became a special place for the family. Emily loved spending time there, watering the plants and enjoying the peace and quiet of nature. Lily often sat in the garden with a book, enjoying the beauty of the flowers, while Jack sometimes helped with the weeding. One day, John had an idea. "Why don't we add a small bench to the garden? It could be a place where we can sit and relax." Emily loved the idea. "That sounds perfect. We can make it our special spot in the garden." John built a simple wooden bench, and they placed it in the corner of the garden, surrounded by flowers and plants. It became the family's favorite place to sit together, talk, and enjoy the beauty of their hard work. "This garden has brought us so much closer," Emily said one evening as they sat on the bench, watching the sunset. Lily smiled. "I love spending time here. It's so peaceful." 7. A garden for the future. As the seasons changed and summer turned into fall, the garden began to slow down. The flowers started to fade, and the vegetables were nearly finished growing. But Emily wasn't sad. "We'll plant new seeds next year," she said. "Gardening is something we can do every year, and each time, it will be a little different." Jack agreed. "Next time, let's plant even more vegetables. Maybe we can grow some pumpkins." Lily nodded. "And more flowers too. I want to try planting roses." The family had learned so much from their first garden, and they were excited to continue their gardening journey. Emily knew that the garden would always be a special place for them, a place where they could work together, enjoy nature, and create beautiful memories.